And when you're going to be guiding here, you need to put your group in a certain area and bring their eyes onto different images here. So when you tell the story of what you're seeing over here, they can follow you. Because there's a lot going on here. This is what we say in English, it's a very busy mosaic, meaning there's a lot of stuff happening here. A lot of things are happening here. Now, for sure, the main issue here, but not exclusively, is the centrality and importance of the Nile River as the source of the breadbasket of the ancient world. Let me say that sentence in different English. Egypt, it's kind of crazy when I say it now in the year 2023, but Egypt, 2,000 years ago, 2,200 years ago, 1,800 years ago, was supplying most of the wheat for the bread that was produced in Italy, in all of Italy. I know it sounds insane today when Egypt is on the edge of starvation, but Egypt was the breadbasket of antiquity, and it was all about the Nile. And when I say it's all about the Nile, it's how much the Nile River overflows its banks, how far, which is both overflowing with very fertile alluvial soil that it's dumping on the banks, okay, which is, in other words, the higher the Nile is, the more flooding it's going to be, the more wheat you can grow, the more bread you can produce. Therefore, in antiquity, they used a measuring rod called the Nilometer, and that's very important. So what do we see over here? Look at me, guys, look at me. On the far end of the mosaic, we see two images. One almost in her entirety, and the other one, her face is and torso is blocked off. We'll go on the left-hand side. Okay, we see a lady. Now I know it's a lady. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And you see in her hand she's holding. Look what
basket
is to the right of her head. A cornucopia.
Bread.
Okay, cornucopia. That is a basket with all kotuv, all the best fruits and produce of the land that you can produce here. Okay, stay with me. To the right of her, in the center of the upper part, you see a tower. You see a tower.
This is the meter.
And as we go below the point, you see there are actually numbers. We don't recognize the numbers. Those are numbers in ancient Greek. And what you see is, you see a little guy who's standing on the back of another guy. And the guy who's standing on the back of the other guy with a hammer and chisel is giving us the water level of the flooding of the Nile. Oh, sorry, the height of the Nile. Please look at, it says, for us it says IZ or IZ, but that's actually not IZ. It's a number, okay? We're going to see that number appear more and more, okay? So that's the Nilometer. Directly below the guy who's holding over with his back, directly below the Nilometer, you see
fish.
The arch. The arch is actually in the water because inside the arch you see fish, right? And to the left of that, you see the different kinds of fowl and fish and animals and flora and fauna we find in the Nile on the left. To the right of the arch, again, some of the flora and fauna. Keep following to the right, and you notice the Nile River is coming out of the mouth of a big bull.
Hippopotamus.
Of a big bull or hippo. Okay?
Hippo.
And sitting above on top is another female figure. Okay? And you notice that what's happening, going back to the Nilometer, we see to the right of the Nilometer, we see images that are delivering the information, okay, of how high it is. Now let's go below the bull or hippo, below the Nile, directly below it. You can see a kind of a hunting scene of what seems to be a leopard running after, I don't know what that is. It looks like a kind of a cross between a donkey and and I don't know, maybe a ya'el, I don't know what that is. I'm not quite sure. But to the left of that,
Gazelle.
you see a little guy with a staff, and to the left of them, same number, and he's standing on a pillar. And to the left of him is another guy who's transferring the information to a guy on a horse, to the left, and you see him galloping. To the left of him, you see again the same
Alexandria.
thing, and he gets to Alexandria. It tells us that, and what you see there On the left-hand side is one of the wonders of the ancient world, which is the lighthouse of Alexandria. You guys following?
Yeah.
So, in other words, they're giving the information, they're bringing the information of, that's how important it is, because from there it's going to go out to Italy, it's going to go out to the rest of the world to tell them, is it a good year or a bad year?
Yeah.
Are we going to starve this year, or are we not going to starve this year? Okay? Below all that, we have different hunting scenes of primarily different types of animals. Either, they're all cats, by the way. Either we're looking at a tiger, what you call the lion, I think is more of a tiger. Okay, okay. To the left we have like a leopard. Okay, we have a smaller cat that's tearing into that antelope. Here we have actually a bear that is tearing into a water buffalo or into a, what appears to be, got a tusk here. It's either a water buffalo or it could be an ox. Okay, we're seeing all these scenes over here. Where are you going to see these things? You're going to see them. Where are you going to have these kind of animals? With a place where there's lots of food and water and flourish. Okay, I want to go back to the Nile meter. You guys have not yet visited the church of the multiplication of the bread and fish yet, have you?
Yes.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not as a course. When you get there, there's a Nile meter.